Today we have with us Vince and Marian, and we are going to have a discussion around the personal report and the job fit report. So some of you watching this, some of you with us live today, this may be the first time you're even hearing that there are two reports. We are going to go through the nuances of both reports, how you can use them, when you use them, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start with you, Vince. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Vince Mariani. I am the general manager of KW Select in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, as well as still in the team leader role down in Charleston, South Carolina, and have had the awesome opportunity to own a couple of market centers and really grow with some great people, some great partners, the KPA, obviously helping and being a great tool in creating those partnerships. And the CV process in general. I started at Keller Williams back in 2015. Prior to that, I was in wealth management, built a wealth management business, hated it, actually went through the old recruit select process to become an MCA, and became a MCA back in 2015 to about 2019. And through that tenure, I used at that point, recruit select. Through that tenure also, though, the KPA and the CV process was developed and really dove into that because we all know that the biggest challenge in business is people, right? When you talk to successful individuals and you ask them, what's been your biggest challenge in building what you've built? It always revolved around people being the most complex and most challenging. So really dove into the model of CV, the tools of the KPA, to then create other opportunities for myself, for people, for those in our world, and eventually became then the team leader and GM present day. So it's been a fun journey, the KPA, the CV process being a big part of it because people are so important, and hiring is so sacred in business, so necessary. So really passionate about it, that's for sure.
Awesome. Marian, tell us a little bit about you. You're also an OG from the career visioning and recruit select days.
Yeah, yes, that's right. I remember back in those days training with Bain Hennion to convert his program to Recruit Select. So the company's evolved a lot, the process has evolved a lot since those days, and I think we've just got better and better all the way along. But I joined Keller Williams at the very end of '99, and when we had like 3,000 agents. And I was in the Michigan area then, where I launched my first market center that I still own. And now I'm the operating principal of a region in Southern California called the Inland Empire region. And it's just like it might suggest, it's sort of inland. When they asked me to go to California, I thought, oh, lovely, sun, sand, and beaches. And when I got here, I have no beaches. So there's more than one part to California. It was a bit of a disappointment, but I very quickly grew to absolutely love it. And I've been here since 2003, and my responsibility in that capacity was to build the region. So we had no Keller Williams back then, and everything I did was about Recruit Select then, and then morphing into career visioning, which, as I said, I love. It's given us more options. And as a regional owner, I couldn't possibly do all of the validations and all of the KPAs that we need to have done. So it's really important for me to be able to teach the course and to have more and more people who can do it effectively. So many times I'll be working with team leaders to get them to a place where they feel really comfortable to use the KPA. And like our subject today is about the two different, the short, we used to just call it the short version and the long version, but really, and that's true because the personal reports are, it doesn't take you nearly as long to do. It's about 10 minutes versus maybe 40 minutes, would you say, Vince, for a...
Just about, yeah. 40 minutes, uninterrupted time.
Uninterrupted time, you can go do about 40 minutes. So I think most of my team leaders in this region use the short version in recruiting, and that's really helped them to do good needs analysis with their the lovely thing I love most about the KPA is that, if you don't really like asking, I'm English, so, we're not very intrusive in our conversations with people. And the KPA just gives us permission to answer all those questions because they're written down here. And so I have to ask you, even if it's a bit uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but I got to fill this format. So that was my leverage when I first started building the region. It was like I needed to know this stuff. I didn't quite have the courage to ask you all those questions, but now I couldn't help it because I've got this very important form that I got to fill out. So,
Marian, you make a great point about that. And I was actually talking to Gary at a MAPS event, and he made a comment to me, and he said, "Don't succeed on your personality, succeed on your intention." And what I heard you kind of saying was very similar to that. If I know that maybe my natural personality, which again kind of comes out in the KPA, but if I know my natural personality as I'm verifying a KPA is one where I may not be as intrusive and not ask deeper questions as to not intrude, leveraging a tool to create efficiency based on the intention that I have to get to know you can really make those conversations flow much easier and you feel at ease to truly get down to the nitty gritty and your intention be it, I want to get to know you. So I love what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes, I remember validating somebody's KPA once, and it was a little bit of a daunting experience for me. It was a few years ago, and the person that was at the end of the process, I asked him, so, how was that? How did you find that? And he said, well, I think that you've most apologetically turned me inside out. So
That is so.
yeah. And sometimes I think that people can feel like that. They don't know us right away. We're a stranger when they walk in the room many times. And when they leave, they have just told us so much about themselves, but they've done it in a comfortable way. How cool is that, right? Because when you meet people, it isn't. I mean, I have some very good colleagues that work with me that can ask you anything, and it just seems totally natural for them. But many of us, that's not the case. We can't ask things which are maybe a little bit more personal without feeling, a bit uncomfortable about it. And that's what the KPA does for us. It allows us, it kind of gives us permission to ask those questions. It gets us to where we need to be. And it's such a win-win because if I guide you into a role which is not going to be a good place for you to be in, I am really doing a disservice to you. And back in the days when I had the great pleasure of working with Bain Henyon, I'll always remember his comments to that. He said, we've been very, it's a God-given thing to be able to be put into a position of leadership. And when you're in a position of leadership, you have a massive responsibility to correctly guide people to the best place for them. And you have a tool now which will allow you to facilitate guiding them, even if it's maybe bigger than you. Maybe you on your own without that tool wouldn't be able to do it, but this tool is now giving you a pathway to help them to get into the very best place that they can be. And that is your responsibility as a leader. So, be that person. Don't slough off on your responsibility by not doing it correctly. And I love that because it gives us that tool. We're like, okay, this is my job and this is what I'm going to go and do.
We do these episodes every month. And to your point, Marian, almost every conversation I have, people refer to validating the KPA as a gift that you're giving somebody. You're helping people self-discover their natural behavior, and then they can go win the day. And another thing that comes up, it's another video that we've done, another interview, but setting the stage for somebody taking the KPA is really critical because like you said, Marian, it's all outlined for us. Like you can't see my papers. but you get the whole thick book. So those of you that are watching that have never seen the whole thing, you get a whole book and it walks you through question by question. And on page 9 or 10, there's a great thing called the cheat sheet, which we use at KW Talent all the time. And it's about the vocabulary. We can all have an interpretation of what sociability means, but how it um, interfaces with the KPA, how it shows up, you don't have to wonder what sociability actually means. It's outlined for us.
Yeah. And it absolutely might not be what you thought it was at all.
Right.
Well, and I think one of the reasons for that is that we're stepping in the KPA into a different zone, right? We're going into a skill set, a profession really that is outside of our we're realtors, right? We sell real estate, or we work in brokerages that facilitate agents being able to sell real estate. And in that capacity, this is a different world. And it's only because Keller Williams is such a different company. I mean, how many real estate companies even have a desire or a thought process to take you and develop you? That's, people always talk about what's our secret sauce? What is our, who are we? What is that point of difference between all of those other companies out there that are all merging together and us? What makes us different? And for me, our value proposition to the world out there is that, it's not that we're 100%. It's not really profit share. It's not really our tech. For me, it is we're a company that develops people. We will take you and look to develop you personally. I mean, I look at myself, I started out as an agent. Vince, you started out as an MCA. Now you're the general manager of a large corporation. You're running big businesses. What other real estate company, mind you, would have a pathway for you to do that? And I look at me, if I'd have stayed at Coldwell Banker, I probably would still be a manager of an office. Maybe I'd have a bigger office because I was pretty good at recruiting. And now I own a region, I own 3 market centers, I own escrow companies, and everything that I have is because Keller Williams has showed me constantly pathways and open doors. We are so blessed at this company, and I don't see that anywhere else. I don't see Compass making sure that Vince is on the right path for the skill set that he has. I don't.
And giving Marian, it's so right, and giving the tools, models, and training in order to run down those paths, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm so passionate about how sacred the hiring process is. We all can agree that we hear it all the time. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. I spend time around my business associates more than pretty much anybody, right? Even sometimes my family, because we're always at work. We spend a lot of time building, right? And so you're the sum of those 5 people, understanding them through tools like the KPA, be it the personal report, be it the job fit report, if you want to go deeper, is paramount to the success in those relationships, therefore paramount to the success that you create when you're running down all these amazing paths when you're in a great environment like Keller Williams. So couldn't agree more with what you're saying.
Go back for me, and maybe some of the people on this call don't know quite what you're saying when you say those 5 people, and I think it's really important. So finish that thought, if you would.
So we know that I kind of think of it, there's a workflow, and it shows, I think it was in coaching skills camp or something, and I've maps models maybe back in the day.
Shows up a lot. It shows up a lot in Keller
Yeah,
Williams.
and it talks about my big why is going to drive the way that I think. My thinking is going to drive my behavior. My behavior will drive my habits. My habits will drive the relationships that are in my life, and the relationships in my life will help determine a result. So the 5 people we spend the most time around, we're the sum or the average of the 5 people we spend the most time around, that is going to directly impact the result that I create, whether that's in pursuit of my goals, whether that's in pursuit of helping others get to their goals, whatever that result I intend to get, my relationships are going to be in a variable, right? And tools like the KPA help us increase the probability that the people in our life are going to help us, right? Are the right people, number one, that we're able to help them get what they want. And then ultimately that's going to be, and we're going to get what we want, right? Like what does Zig Ziglar said, you can have anything in this world you want, assuming you get enough people what they want.
That's right.
Said it differently, I'm sure, but about that, right? So the KPA to me just helps me identify that. I think hiring in business is massively sacred, and we should be, as facilitators of a KPA or any model within hiring people and getting into business with people, we should determine, let's say, 3 or 4 things. We should understand who they are. The personal report, and more specifically, the job fit helps us understand that. We should understand their track record of success, right? And we should understand where they want to go, which also is something that's the motivational interview within career visioning, right? And then lastly, and most importantly to me, we have to determine whether we can get them there and the role can get them there. Because it's our responsibility as the facilitator, Marian, you said this earlier before we started, it's our responsibility to protect the person from the role, not the role from the person.
Mm-hmm.
Because any talented individual can do anything for any given amount of time. It's just a matter of how long until stress creeps in and they blow. And
Mm-hmm.
that's on us as the leader to understand, say with the job fit, where stress may be created in a particular role.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And nothing's worse than coming to work every day with a bunch of people around you that aren't happy. Just,
That's right.
you
Couldn't
know,
agree more.
you want to be happy, and you're going to be happy in the long run if you're doing a job that is a great fit for you and you love it. And every morning when you get up, that little, something just makes you jump out of bed because you're so excited to go and do it. And I mean, we all have days when we're like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this?
That's
But
right.
those days are just the things I think that make you grow a bit further, but you can't be in that space all the time. You've got to be able to really just love that job that you do and know that every time you push that envelope a bit further, you can take that role further. So let's just go back so we're really clear in case anybody decided, well, I'm just going to get on this call to find out what finally the difference is between these two. So I use the short version, the personal report, mostly when I'm trying to bring an agent into my world. And certainly when I was a team leader, that was the type of report that we used. And it was just to do a good needs analysis with them and to open probably it's the first time that they've done anything like this. They may have done a DISC test or something, but nothing on the scale of a KPA. It allows me to ask them some questions that I wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity in my vernacular to be able to do. And it allows me to open their minds to Keller Williams and what we have to offer and the kind of company that we are.
And I think it's important to note there's only 7 traits on the personal report, and it's not matched to a role. So it's, in that 10 minutes, you're just getting some basic overview of them versus the job fit.
That's right.
And Vince and I and Angela were talking before we got on, and there are people who use the personal report for most everything. And you have to be really, really good. And I've been doing some 20 odd years, and I wouldn't do that. I always default to using the full report. If I'm hiring somebody, if they're coming in to my world and they're going to be on salary, I want to use that report. It's my security blanket, if you will, to hiring that person. So there is a big difference between the two. If you are certainly in any way new to personality profiles, you should follow the model that Keller Williams has given you. It's we have a saying at Keller Williams that, and of course now it's just left me, but people have gone before you, right?
Mhm.
We've made so many mistakes. I mean, when I was new to Keller Williams, Mo Anderson had me on a panel, and I'd been on lots of panels before, but it was always, because I'd done something really good, and I would get to go and, kind of brag about what I'd done that was really good. And I came to Keller Williams, and Mo Anderson had me sit on a panel and tell everybody about all the mistakes I'd made in launching my first market center. And it took me a while to appreciate that. But people have gone before you. They've made lots of mistakes. And the wonderful thing about Keller Williams is that we document those mistakes, and we get better and we fail forward. And the KPA and the job fit process and the personal report, those are results of people sharing their mistakes. So I would highly recommend that you use them. And Vince, tell us about how you use the job fit report.
Yeah, I'm very similar, and I think I use the job fit report mostly or all the time when I'm hiring, right? And if they're going to be in our world as a leadership team member, every time I'm going to go and get deep with the job fit report, specifically because that has thinking traits on it, and I want to understand the way that they think. Whereas the personality or the personal report is just going to be their primary traits and their modifier traits, right? It's just going to be their personality, their behavior. It's not going to then go and add the way that they prefer to think, right? And Angela, if I said that wrong, please correct me. But I enjoy understanding the way somebody's going to think through problems or prefers to think through problems when they're truly in my world. The other thing is, if we're going to truly get into partnership and we're going to hire somebody into our world as compared to recruit them as an independent contractor agent, right? There's a lot of different things I'm going to do or I'm going to have to understand different things about them. And I'm going to want to get into the relationship quick in the recruiting process, which the personal report is going to allow me to do. And if I want to go deeper in that relationship, maybe I'll even bring the person, I'll have them go back and take the job fit report so that then we can even determine, hey, based on your personality, behavior, here's where stress is going to get created as you pursue building a team, right? Maybe you're a really high match, let's say. I don't put too much weight into the matches. I just look at the matches as a place where stress is going to get created. And then we have to use systems, tools, and people to fill those voids of their personality, their natural personality, so that they can still succeed, right? But maybe you're not as high of a match and there's more stress that's going to get created in different areas as a rainmaker. So let's protect against that now. Let's put those systems and tools, maybe people in place so that you don't have the stress that could potentially come up based on your natural personality as you grow a team and move to that next path, Marian, that you kind of talked about earlier. And that's how I use both the job fit and the personal. I use the job fit much more than I use the personal.
Yeah, me too.
And however, sometimes one of the places that I've failed in that is I don't articulate exactly maybe how long it's going to take, or don't do it while the kids are running around, right? And they come back and like, man, that thing felt like the SAT. And what in the world? And so making sure that we're really honest up front about what one we're going to use 10 minutes, 15 minutes as compared to 40 minutes, that makes a difference. And the other space that I've failed is not setting up that conversation when I'm verifying it correctly and saying, look, you're going to hear a lot of good things, maybe things that you perceive as not as good, but this is a space, a safe space where we're just truly trying to write an accurate assessment and understand truly who you are based on your personality, behavior, and the way that you prefer to think, so that we can get you into the space that's best for you to hit your goals. So leave humility in your back pocket. Let's talk about it, right? A much better way than saying, all right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate, right? And then
Yeah.
it says Vincent Mariani tends to react with a high emotional intensity to problems at work. Well, that's not how I want to start. right? So I think it's so important the way that, and I've failed in that a lot too, but the way that we approach even the beginning of the
Yeah.
conversation.
100%. That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you're going into those conversations and you know that you're going to say something, we always read them ahead of time ourselves, so what's coming up. Learning how to say those in such a way that they don't feel that this is a bad thing is very good. It's very helpful. And also, I think one of the things that I've learned, which is very true, is that when I hire somebody for a particular role, I'm also taking into consideration all the time all of the people that are going to be around them in that role, right? So, and one of the things that I need to do is I know that you're not going to hit 10 out of 10 on everything. None of us are made that way, right? So I might be very good at certain things, and I'm really hiring for my weaknesses. So I'm looking for people who aren't doing the things that I do well, because I'm going to continue doing those because I like them. I'm looking for the things that I don't do well. And sometimes it's helpful to tell them that, or even to explain. I'll often explain to people, I'll say, look, there are certain core things in this job that you've just got to be able to do. But what I'm trying to find out is all the things that are going to be challenging for you to do, so that I can make sure that I can plug other people around those things. And that's the truth, right? You get somebody that comes in and the job even takes a different direction because of the talent that they bring to the table. And if you are in a position that you're able to maximize their talent to its fullest extent, you're going to get the most that you can out of that person, and you're going to make them as happy as they could possibly be, because they're allowed to exploit that area of their talent. So I think that helping them to understand that it's okay and we expect you not to be great at everything, allows them to relax a little bit more and say, yeah, it'd be great if somebody else could do that, and that might be something that you love to do, or somebody in your world is wanting to take all the time. So
There's an operational component from behind the scenes that we just did our Built to Last 2-day workshop. And part of that workshop is creating your org model 1, 3, and 5 years out. And this one team had other folks, in the field that they possibly could elevate to a lead role, but they had taken the KPA for a agent role. Well, you can contact your market center and just ask your MCA to rerun their existing KPA against another role. So if you're going to have someone take the 50-minute test, just know that you can have it run against different roles so that you can help figure out where they may have be a better fit in your organization.
yeah, absolutely. It's
This has
great.
been great. I want to ask you each, with our last minute to go, for a golden nugget. What would be your words of wisdom, what you've learned from bad experience, good experiences, that you want to bestow on everyone that is with us today?
After you, Marian.
My golden nuggets in the CV process is, don't shortcut it. This is your opportunity to be with that person. You've sort of got you've got a little gap in time, right? Because when they get up and go, life goes on, and we do our job every day. But this is a stop the world, sit down, me and you. I'm going to take the time now to learn just about you. Don't shortcut it. It's very special. It's one of our biggest value propositions, and treasure it for what it is.
Awesome.
Couldn't agree more. That's a really good one. Don't shortcut the model. I'd say be genuine in your approach to leveraging the tool. Sometimes the tool, one of the things that I've failed at with that tool and with the KPA is it tends to make you robotic, right? Whereas I can still follow the prompts, I can still follow the tool and not be robotic, be authentic and truly genuine, because people want to do business with people they know, love, and trust. And the tool helps me show somebody that I do care, that they can trust me, and that I can help, right? Much faster than leveraging anything else or just having a conversation. So be genuine in the approach and go in with this idea of, let me just get to know who you are, and then understand what you've done, and understand where you want to go, and understand if I can help or the role can help you get there. And you're going to have a lot of success.
Awesome.
I
Thank
love
you both for being with us. Thank you for everyone who joined us live or is watching this. And we'll be back next month for our next episode of CV and Caffeine.